method that says, let's make health care in this country, let's make health insurance truly affordable. Let's create incentives and let's create an economic condition and competition and things like that to drive the cost down of insurance so that it becomes more palatable for people to buy. And let's give people the option if they want to buy it, but let's make it truly more affordable. Reduced regulations, that type of thing. So this is kind of the battle that's going on between them. Well, Paul Ryan and the establishment Republicans, they've come out with their plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. Like I say, it's kind of Obamacare light. You have some conservatives, some more fiscal conservatives among the Republicans that say, no, we don't like this. It's just Obamacare light. Donald Trump, interestingly enough, has signed on with Paul Ryan and the establishment Republicans in this case. And the reason is that I think Trump realizes that he has to somehow, some way, get some kind of replacement for Obamacare. And he feels like the conservatives are trying to bite off more than they can chew, that they'll never be able to make it happen. So Trump is saying, let's do a pragmatic approach here and at least get some kind of repeal going. So that's why I think that Trump is siding with Paul Ryan and the establishment right now. Right? But then you have this long-anticipated CBO report, Congressional Budget Office. Then the Congressional Budget Office came out with their numbers, and here's what they say. On the good side, they say that the establishment Republican Party's replacement for Obamacare would end up reducing federal deficits by $337 billion over the next 10 years. That's a good thing. But on the bad side, they say that 14 million people will lose their health insurance by 2018, and 24 million will lose their health insurance by 2026. That's what they're saying. And that's what the headlines are all saying as well. So you can see why most Americans are looking at this going, oh, the Republicans are terrible. They're going to take health insurance away from 14 million people just next year alone, and 24 million people over the next 10 years? Folks, how many times have you heard me say on this show, anytime you see or read something in the news, you have to be asking yourself, what's the rest of the story? What are they leaving out? Here's the stuff that they're leaving out, all right? First, let's establish something about the CBO itself. The Congressional Budget Office is considered to be nonpartisan. It's made up of Republicans and Democrats. So therefore, they're considered to be not political, but just kind of the bean counters, the accountants in Washington who don't really have an axe to grind either way. That's the way that they are perceived. But folks, much like the ACLU is perceived about being, nonpartisan, they're just about protecting the Constitution. Or National Organization for Women is nonpartisan, they're just about empowering women. Or the NAACP, they're nonpartisan, they're just about empowering and advancing African Americans in this country. No, they have a liberal slant to them. And the CBO is the same way. Yes, it's got Democrats and Republicans on it, but the Republicans as part of the CBO tend to be more centrist, moderate, and siding with the liberals. So the CBO itself does have a liberal left-wing agenda in the way that it presents itself. So first, let's remember that. Newt Gingrich is a big critic of the CBO, says that they should be completely scrapped and replaced with a coalition of independent private sector accountants to basically calculate these figures, not the Congressional Budget Office. Second thing you need to remember about these numbers from the CBO, because remember, Republicans right now are saying we don't trust the CBO's numbers. We do not trust them. This is the same Congressional Budget Office, folks, that got the Obamacare projections, way off. Remember several years ago, the CBO came out with their projections of how much Obamacare was going to cost? And the CBO was way off. Obamacare costed way, way, way more than the Congressional Budget Office projected it was going to. Remember what else they did? They got wrong? The CBO projected how many millions of people were going to get health insurance as a result of Obamacare. Well, their projections were way off. Millions and millions of people off. So they already proved they can't accurately project costs, and they can't accurately project what people are going to do as far as getting insurance or not. So for that reason, why should we trust the CBO's numbers is what Republicans are saying. I think they have a fair point. Why should we trust their numbers when they now say 14 million less people will be insured by 2018 and 24 million less insured by 2026? Why should we trust those numbers? But it gets even worse, folks. How are they calculating those numbers? Well, I'm going to share that with you in just a minute, because you got to remember, folks, my thing has always been look at things logically, look at things factually, look at things honestly. And I think when you break down the numbers regarding the CBO and how they got these figures, you're going to see for yourself that the Republicans have a legitimate beef to say, don't take the CBO's numbers so seriously. I'll go through some of those with you in just a little bit. But